Gio here, coming to you from Beyond the Veil. I'm joined, of course, by my lovely wife and co-pilot, Mrs. Gio.
Good evening, everyone.
And tonight, we have some pretty amazing announcements coming out of Meta, Facebook, by Zuckerberg. We're going to get into those here in just a minute. They are getting rid of the fact checkers. And I think Elon Musk had something to do with it because they're moving more towards a model like X, where instead of fact checkers, they're just going to have community notes. The fact checkers are all freaking out too, which I think is funny because now they know how we feel. When we were fact checked and we were censored on Facebook and our pages were taken down, and we had pages that were getting hundreds of thousands of views per videos and all this, and this all happened in 2021, and we've been shadow banned ever since. So what goes around comes around, and that's exactly what I told them. They did a hit piece about us on USA Today. I might get into that a little bit later, but I want to get into this first and foremost, so we can see how social media is going to be moving forward. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it just another ploy? Who knows? Maybe we are actually seeing the changing of the guards and the changing of the tides when it comes to the online censorship that we have been subjected to for years and years and years. Everybody out there,
we can
not just
hope,
us.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we're going to have our own perspectives on it because we're inside of it, but everybody else has been inside of it too. But I want to give you my take on Zuckerberg, the AI. Or Zuckerberg, the AI, or Zuckerberg, comma, the AI, whatever you want to take it as. And I want to, I don't know, let's just get into what Zuckerberg's talking about here. Before we do, big shout out to JF. Thank you, JF. We had a great new year.
Yes, we did.
Thank you very much. And yeah, we got a little bit of Molly with the donation that she sent. So
yeah, so
thank you.
You contributed as well.
Yes.
So thank you.
Anyways, let's wait for a few people to join us. People have been complaining in the chat and in the comments that they can't find the channel. I'm sorry about that. We're doing whatever we can. So people were saying it in the comments too that they're not being notified. We'll see if people get notified this time around. I doubt it, but we will see what happens. So hold right there. We'll be right back in 2 minutes and we will start the show.
I speak my mind, now they're tracking me. Tagged as a threat for what I see. I call the lies, won't play the game. Truth is my weapon, I'll state my claim. From the playbook moves to the global scene. Expose the plot, unravel the scheme. Speak my mind, now they're tapping my line. Algorithms watch every move online. Why? Cause they know I won't conform. Truth is my weapon in this digital storm. Ukraine's a pawn, Zelensky's a face. Proxy wars in a high stakes race. The game was mapped, page by page. New world order in a digital age. Wanna know the plan, start to track the scams. Corporate elites in the metaverse land. AI tech is the new frontier. Control the data, keep the people in fear. From BlackRock deals to Silicon ties. Tech overlords selling freedom's demise. One big cabal, they're running it all. Deep fakes, surveillance, and digital thrall. I speak my mind, now they're tracking me. Tagged as a threat for what I see. I call the lies, won't play their game. Truth is my weapon, I'll state my claim. From the playbook moves to the global scene. Expose the plot, unravel the scheme. It's all a repeat for the digital sheep. Scrolling the feed into the deep. Clickbait wars, they control the flow. Divide the masses with every post. AI, overlords and social scores. Censorship knocking on digital doors. From TikTok trends to misinformation. Control the youth with media sedation. Crypto bubbles and virtual land. Fleecing the people with a sleight of hand. Central banks push digital cash. Track every dollar, erase the stash. Global resets and carbon fines. Control the world one step at a time. But they censor me when I call it out. Label me fringe, fill the world with doubt. I speak my mind, now they're tracking me. Tagged as a threat for what I see. I call the lies, won't play their game. Truth is my weapon, I'll stake my claim. From the playbook moves to the global scene. Expose the plot, unravel the scheme. From Elon's bots to the X control. Speech is a currency, they tax the soul. Digital IDs, they're coming soon. Big brother watches, we're the tune. Spin the narrative, poison the mind. A world of fear, truth's hard to find. Puppet leaders in a global script. Wars they fund, the profits flipped. Climate agendas, data they store. Track the skies and the ocean's floor. But I write these rhymes for a time like this. Documenting every hit and miss. Blacklist my voice, but it won't fade. The truth's a fire, they'll never evade. I'll speak my piece, let the record play. A call for freedom in a world of decay. I speak my mind, now they're tracking me. Tagged as a threat for what I see. I call the lies, won't play their game. Truth is my weapon, I'll stake my claim. From the playbook moves to the global scene. Expose the plot, unravel the scheme. a scheme.
Fight. All right. So let's jump into this really quick because this is a topic that's really important to us, obviously. Censorship on social media, which has been a growing problem. We'll get into the Twitter files. We will get into the Adpocalypse, how it all started 10 years ago, how it evolved, how it seems to be coming undone right now. But before we get into that, let's go first to the man himself, Mark Zuckerberg. We'll play his message and then comment on it and kind of dissect it and see. I want to get your take on it too. I don't think you've seen this yet. Have you seen it?
Oh, no, I actually haven't. So
Okay,
this is good.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed, so we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
Well, that was a lot
Yep.
that was said there.
Yeah.
And people are already calling it on the chat. They're saying that this sounds like he's trying to keep up with Elon, with free speech and all of that. And yeah, exactly. Elon got the Twitter files, and when he dumped the Twitter files, then one of his famous lines is he said that we'll remove anything that's illegal. Simple. End of story. And that's where it ends. He said, there's no censorship unless it's illegal. If you don't like it, go pass a law about it.
Yeah.
But we're not going to remove anything else. And Zuckerberg, okay, so he's got a really bad reputation, and rightfully so. But really, when you really look at what he's done, at the very beginning of this 2015, 2016, during the YouTube Adpocalypse, he was one of the first to stand up and say, no, we're not going to censor Facebook. I don't care. And then he changed his mind and said, okay, well, we'll censor the hate speech content.
Because the feds were putting pressure on him.
No. The feds weren't putting pressure on him just yet.
Really?
Not just yet.
It was just the advertisers?
It was the board of directors.
The board of directors.
And then the feds came in and they were putting pressure on him about Russian misinformation, especially before an election. But he has been pretty adamant about not censoring Facebook. However, he caved in a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because he's going to do what's best for his bottom line and what's best for his board of directors.
And at least he's flat out admitting that there is censorship, like rampant censorship on Facebook right now.
Right. Well, that's a good point.
It's
a good point. And it's censorship around, like he said, political content and stuff that actually matters to people.
Right. And admitting that people really do care about these things and that they're basically having to change their policies because it's become such a problem of retaining users and things, and users giving more and more, it makes the company look bad when most of your users complain about censorship, and most of the things said about Facebook and are negative because it centers around they censor the shit out of my posts. If he's trying to keep up with Elon, he's got a long way to go.
No doubt. I mean, I don't think that anybody can compete with X right now.
No.
And that's the thing. Once you get a bad reputation, unless you have a complete hostile takeover, which is what X had. Elon, and a hostile takeover, for people that don't know, is when an entity or company comes in and says, we're going to buy up the majority share of your stocks. And that's a hostile takeover.
Of a publicly
because
traded company.
nobody has a say in the matter. If they can buy the stocks, they can buy the stocks, and that's it. And then it becomes their company. And that's what Elon did. And then he dismantled about 80% of it. And as he said, if you're not trying to run a glorified censorship mill and a propaganda social media company, you don't need 80% of
the
workforce, of the servers, of anything like that at all, period. So everybody's following suit. And I hope that YouTube and Google follow suit here pretty soon, because I remember back in 2012, 2013, 2015, all the way up until the Adpocalypse of 2017, everything was running pretty smooth. You could find interesting content. You can find enlightening content. You can find conspiratorial content. And some of it was good content. Some of it was bad. And what I mean good content and bad content, I mean like factual or not factual. But at the time, though, this is the thing. Like, nobody can be the arbiter of truth, because one person's truth may turn out to be actual truth that just everybody else is saying, no, that's not true. And then it comes out to be true later, and vice versa as well. So you can't really step in and censor material like that, because it's a disservice to everybody. The argument before was, well, they're a private company. They can run their business however they want. And that was true until Elon dumped the Twitter files and showed that the government is going to these social media companies and saying, no, you need to censor this and censor this and censor this and censor this. And then that became outsourcing censorship. And then the First Amendment really came into practice there. Had they not been following government orders, then the argument could still be valid. But they were following government orders, and so therefore it was a violation of the First Amendment.
Exactly. The government was directly stepping in and communicating back and forth with these social media companies and saying, hey, do me a favor, pull this, pull that, don't let that be said. Even if it's true. They said in regards to the pandemic, even if it's true, if it's something that could, panic people or make people worried or too afraid, don't allow it.
I mean, I understand to a certain degree how you have to have a little bit of that. And let me give you an example, and you tell me what you think, and let me know what you think in the comments and in the chat out there. What do you think about this scenario? Let's say there are 5 missing nuclear weapons, and the military has drones flying all over the place, and they're looking for these 5 missing nuclear weapons. Do you want that kind of information circulating?
That's kind of a good argument. I mean, on the one hand, don't you want people to be able to evacuate from those places if there's even a chance that they don't find them in time? Or
sure, but
something happens?
If we've seen anything, especially through 2020, is that the whole out there, they're sheep. And humanity as a whole is pretty stupid. Individuals are very smart, but humanity is pretty stupid. They'll kill each other. They'll turn their cities upside down, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
So in order to avoid a panic, is that justified? Y'all let me know out there. I'm not telling you my opinion anyway it goes, because I really don't have an opinion. It seems 50-50.
A lot of the time when it comes to panicking.
But short of something huge like that, I think anything else should go, as long as it's not illegal.
Okay. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just thinking about the way people panic. They do act like more animalistic than human a lot of the time, because they don't know how to handle fear. And then once something gets hyped up, that fear response can take over. That's why the media has crafted itself exactly at certain levels where it builds up your fear, but doesn't let it overwhelm you and make you want to go out and do stupid things, unless you're MSNBC and CNN in the summer of 2020. Then it amped up the anger levels to where people thought it was decent to run around and light small businesses on fire. So
That's true. That's a good point. So up here on the screen, Meta fact checkers partners say they were blindsided by the decision to axe them. Meta's fact-checking partners claim they were blindsided by the decision to abandon third-party fact-checkers on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads in favor of community notes model. We heard the news just like everyone else, says Alan Duke, co-founder and son of a bitch of Lead Stories,
I was just about to say.
which started working with Meta in 2019. No advance notice. Oh, gee, I can't even imagine how that must feel. Wow, you just
that
all of a
must
sudden
really
just
hurt.
had your page pulled just like that with no advance notice. Not even a community violation
smallest
or anything like that.
Playing for you, bro.
Chris Geo goes against our community standards. I actually have a screenshot of that where it says Chris
Geo goes
against our community standards. Not this post or that post, just Chris Geo goes against our community standards.
Him in general.
The news that Meta was no longer planning on using their service was announced in a blog post by Chief Global Affairs Officer Joel Kaplan on Tuesday morning, and an accompanying video from Mark Zuckerberg, which we just played. Meta partners with dozens of fact-checking organizations and news across the globe, 10 of which are based in the U.S., where Meta's new rules will be applied. Duke says that Lead Stories has a diverse revenue stream and most of its operations are outside of the U.S., but he claims that the decisions would have an impact on them. The most painful part is the losing some very good, experienced journalists. Journalists? No. Sorry. That's not what journalists are.
No.
For others, the financial impact and even more dire. One editor in the U.S.-based fact-checking organization that works with Meta, who is not authorized to speak on the record, told Wire that Meta's decision is going to eventually drain us. Gee, how many people did you do that to? Really? How many people did you do that to? Yeah. You know, it wasn't us. Thankfully, because we do have a diverse revenue stream out there. But remember in 2021, what happened? All of our monetization turned off just like that on YouTube, and like all of our stuff just gone.
Yeah, all our stuff just
anything that had any reach anyways.
Yeah.
And then now you can't even find our channel. If you type in Beyond the Veil, Chris Geo, Cherie Geo, I want the goddamn fucking computer AI stuff that people talk about, etc. I typed in, we have a video. Fact-checking the fact-checkers. I typed in fact-checking the fact-checkers, Beyond the Veil, Chris Geo. Nothing.
Nowhere.
Not even
Nowhere
a single
to be found.
video from our channel came up.
Nowhere to be found, guys. Now that's
I'm putting the title of the video
up.
with the title of the channel, with the title of us too, or our names. Nothing.
That's messed up.
So, oh my God, I feel so bad for these companies. Oh, I feel so bad. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, there's a world's smallest violin thing for you.
Meta didn't know fact checkers anything, but it knows that by pulling its partnership and removing its significant source of funding for the ecosystem globally,
the ecosystem, like it's a being, a living being,
who helped establish the first partnership between fact checkers and Facebook in 2015 and 2019.
That's gross.
2015 and 2019. Those are the key dates
mold,
there. The key dates, which we'll get into here in just a moment. Meta's partners also angered by Zuckerberg's allegations that fact checkers had become too biased. I'm sorry, but you're about 6 years late to the party.
Yeah, that's
because they were biased in 2019. They became extremely biased in 2020.
Tardy with the focus on the word tard.
Oh my God. Fact checker journalism is what USA Today does best. Oh, this is so beautiful. USA Today is the key one that took our pages down and did a hit piece on me.
Oh, they did a hit piece on you. That's right.
Right. And they tied me into all that QAnon bullshit. And they ignored the fact that 2 videos prior to that, we uploaded how QAnon
and debunked
was an op.
QAnon. Yes.
2 videos prior to the one that they freaking targeted. QAnon is an op. It's right there.
It's right there in front of you. And they left that part out.
They left that part out and did a hit piece.
Saying he said the opposite of what he said.
Truth and facts serve everyone. Bullshit. Well, I mean, they do serve everyone, yes, but don't tell me this from the fucking USA Today fact checkers, because I have firsthand fucking experience here.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is bad.
All right.
And this is so apologist.
Not right or left, and that's what we'll continue to deliver. Many of Meta's fact-checking partners have claimed that Zuckerberg blaming fact-checkers over-the-top censorship on the company's platform was inaccurate. And they simply added information in the context to post, leaving the final decision, blah, blah, blah. You know, I spoke to the guy that sued CNN on behalf of that kid that was at he was at a Trump rally, and there were Native Americans there, and they painted him as a white supremacist and all kinds of stuff, and he wound up suing CNN for like $500 million. His name is Tom Holland, Tom something, I don't remember his last name. But anyways, I talked to him, he's an attorney, and he looked at the case and he said, you know, you got a good case here. The problem is I have so much of my caseload that I can't take it. And he said, look, it's going to be very difficult to find an attorney that goes up against USA Today or something like that. And he said, but I totally would if I didn't have so much of my caseload. But the thing is, he finished that case with CNN. And then after he finished that case, CNN then defamed them even further, and they broke the contract. So he had to sue CNN again on behalf of that guy. And he's like, I've got too much. I can't invest that many resources into doing it. Yeah. But no, I spoke to him personally, and he looked at our case and everything like that, and he was ready to take USA Today to court. Yeah, and if he could have.
You're right, and if the statute of limitations hadn't run out, then we would definitely be suing them right now.
Well, if there's anything that I learned from the Trump trial, statutes of limitations don't matter anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
This would be a good time to file a lawsuit against them, now that they're really weakened.
Against Facebook.
No, against USA Today.
Well, I know, but against Facebook too, because.
No, well, I don't know. He didn't say anything about suing Facebook. He was talking about suing USA Today because they're the ones that printed it.
But there's a lot of these social media companies that need to be held accountable. Maybe class action lawsuits are what needs to happen against these companies, because now they're just trying to act like it didn't happen to a certain extent. Now that, and I think this isn't coming from Mark Zuckerberg. This is coming from Dana White, because he just became the new head of Meta.
Dana White from UFC is on the board of Meta now.
Now he's the head of it.
Oh, is he the head of it?
Yeah, he's the head of the board of directors. Yeah.
So this can be viewed. Oh, actually, it goes on to say this right here. Zuckerberg's decision last week to promote Kaplan, a former deputy chief of staff of George W. Bush, was widely seen as an effort to appease the incoming administration, as Meta's decision this week to appoint UFC CEO and close Trump ally Dana White to its board.
Yeah. Okay. He's not the head, but he's on the board now, and obviously they've been trying to reorganize themselves to be more friendly to the incoming administration. And so this is part of it, is having to, make this apology video basically, and still try to make the company look good while admitting a huge amount of failure in the last several years. It was pretty good from a marketing standpoint. It's a good idea to do that, because it makes it look like you're apologizing when you're really not. That they're really good at that.
I noticed, I got on Facebook recently, over the last 3 weeks, because I don't like social media. It drains you. It's a waste of time. There's some good people on there, but it's a waste of time for me.
Right.
It's a distraction. But I noticed a lot less people there. And I noticed a lot less political posts too. And we have a lot of stuff going on right now in politics. Mm-hmm. We just had the Trump certification. We had the attempted assassination. We have the upcoming sentencing on the 10th, which
attacks.
is in 3 days. Yeah, 3 days from now. We have the attacks. Nothing. I don't see anything about that.
Right.
What if that's the content that I want to see?
Exactly. And that's,
I want to know what people's opinions are out there.
Yeah. That's what he said too. He said people have been telling us they want to see the political content again as recommended posts, and which we had stopped for a long time. And so it looks like they're pushing things in a totally different, like a complete 180 direction than what they were. But at the same time, if you look at X, they've upped their censorship now. Have you seen that?
I haven't. No, what happened with that? With
Yeah,
X?
really recently, people have been complaining that X has modified its terms and conditions greatly to basically own any content you put on Twitter completely. And we talked about that, but there's
Okay. So before
other
we
things
get
happening now too.
before we get into any further than that, I want to chime in on that and just give you my perspective, looking at it from 360 degrees. So I'm glad you brought that up because this kind of ties into where I kind of wanted to go from here. I wanted to go into the Adpocalypse. The Adpocalypse started way back, but let's jump over to the middle of the Adpocalypse here for just a second. Alex Jones, when he was censored online, there were a lot of people going, oh yeah, fuck him, all this blah, 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 blah. But in actual fact, that was a horrible thing that happened. It was terrible. So just recently, what happened, and you know this, but I'm just saying this for the audience. Alex Jones was sued for like $3 trillion or something like that. That's what the whole total was, but it turned out to be like $1 billion or something. These are ridiculously astronomical numbers. And as a result, he had to sell off InfoWars, which is no big deal because he is InfoWars. It doesn't matter whether people go to Infowars.com or AlexJones.com or whatever the case may be. It doesn't really matter. So what are they getting from this big lawsuit? They're getting some equipment that is easily replaceable, and they're getting Infowars. So there was a bunch of shenanigans going on with that. And the Onion bid a small amount, and then one of Alex's business partners, like where he gets his products from, they bid a larger amount, and their bid was denied. And then they gave it to the Onion, and then a judge stepped in and said, "No, you can't do that," and all kinds of stuff like that. But anyways, bringing it back all the way around to what I'm talking about here is when he went to court, they told him, no, we're not here to decide whether you're guilty or not. We're just here to decide how much you're going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So Musk recently just stepped in, and they wanted his Twitter account. And his Twitter account has millions of followers for InfoWars. And Musk stepped in and he said, no, you can't have it because that belongs to us. It belongs to X. It doesn't belong to Alex Jones. Alex Jones can use it, but it ultimately belongs to us. So on that note, could it be that Musk is updating the terms and conditions to protect things like that? Because they can turn around and say, okay, this content is ours, this content. Because what they were trying to do with InfoWars is in the sale, they're trying to say that all the media that he produced belongs to InfoWars and therefore is their property. So they can just scrub it and delete it. And Elon is arguing and saying, no, it's not. It belongs to us. So it doesn't even belong to Alex. It belongs to us.
That could be the case. But in the last few days, he's been deleting or suspending accounts, suspending people's verification badges, 14 different accounts that were big accounts of far-right activists who are against the H-1B visa thing. And that, he's pro H-1B visas. We're pro H-1B visas, but they're anti that. And he says it's because they're racist and that we have to get rid of them because they're going to be the fall of the Republican Party. So
which? Hold on, I'm gonna fix your gate because I think you're not hitting the gate.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Elon Musk has suspended their accounts or at least their verification badges.
Which accounts?
14 different far-right activist accounts. I'm pulling that up now because it's kind of borderline for me. Let's see.
No. I mean, we need to go over this, and we need to look at this from
he's
all
been accused of
perspectives.
silencing his critics as X suspends journalists.
I'm seeing, this is January 2023. I'm seeing free speech absolutist Elon Musk personally ordered the Twitter suspension of left-wing activists, reports claim. But that's old news.
Okay,
what's going on recently?
So recently, along with suspending those accounts, their new algorithms are a little questionable. Elon Musk announced on January 4th that a redesign of the X algorithm, which aims to limit the dissemination of content perceived as excessively negative. According to him, some posts attract users' attention by artificially creating engagement without actually enriching their experience on the platform. He justifies this decision by the necessity to prioritize more constructive interactions. Our goal is to maximize the regretted user time. Too much negativity is highlighted, which increases the time spent on the platform, but not positively, he stated. In this regard, educational and informative posts will now benefit from increased visibility, while content deemed contentious will see their visibility reduced. However, this decision raises a central question: who will define what constitutes negative content? Several users, including independent journalist James Lee, have questioned Musk on the issue without receiving a clear answer. The lack of precise criteria fuels speculation and nurtures the fear of drifting towards a form of selective censorship. Some internet users already fear that this modification will serve to restrict the visibility of divergent viewpoints or to direct the dissemination of certain news topics. Thus, others question the impact of this change on online debates, especially in a context where X positions itself as a platform that promotes freedom of speech. In the absence of detailed explanations on the sorting and classification mechanisms of the content, this reform fuels mistrust among some users. An open conflict with some influencers and questioning of freedom of speech. This algorithm change does not occur in a political and media vacuum. For several days, Elon Musk has been at the heart of intense tensions with some users of X. Even before the announcement of this algorithmic reform, he had already ignited controversy by suggesting a reform of the U.S. immigration system. According to him, the United States should relax its rules to attract more foreign talent. However, his statements immediately provoked a hostile reaction from several conservative influencers. They believe that such a reform is unnecessary and, on the contrary, priority should be given to reducing immigration. Thus, the debate has flared on X, some users even accusing Musk of promoting an elitist view that is disconnected from the economic realities of our country. The situation worsened when several of these influencers found they could no longer access premium features or monetize their accounts. For them, this restriction is not a coincidence, but an implicit sanction in response to their criticisms. Although Musk has not explicitly commented on these removals, the sequence of events fuels suspicion of a form of disguised retaliation. And now he has said that it was him, and he did that because they're racist, and their racism is going to bring down the Republican Party, basically, in so many words.
I mean, that's interesting. I'm as you were reading that, I'm reading this, and Politico is another one of those fact-checking, failing organizations that's going down the tubes. And listen to this, far-right activist Laura Loomer claims she was suspended on X by Elon Musk. Great title, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her account was suspended for 12 hours.
Oh, okay.
It was suspended for 12 hours.
They're just trying to throw mud at X then.
You have to consider that too.
Yeah.
Now, we'd have to look, I mean, me personally, I'd have to look into the
well, Newsweek never even said that. They said far-right activist Laura Loomer said Elon Musk is retaliating against her by suspending her X account, taking away her verification badge, and demonetizing her subscriptions over their feud about foreign work visas. It's just pure retaliation at this point, Loomer told Newsweek in an interview on Thursday. I've asked for multiple people to get back to me on this, and nobody's getting back to me. I'm being directly targeted by Twitter and Elon, she said. Newsweek reached out to X via email for comment. The tit for tat reflects a rolling debate within the MAGA movement over the value of H-1B visas and so-called highly skilled migration. So, Loomer slammed Musk as a hypocrite for referring to himself as a free speech absolutist, only to restrict her speech on his platform.
I don't understand.
For 12 hours.
For 12 hours.
That needs to be added to the equation. Otherwise,
you see how this works? Like, it's infuriating.
That's selective censorship.
It really is. It's infuriating because that's what they do. I've watched this happen over and over and over again. Well, they've done this to Trump all the time. The big one that every single Democrat that I've talked to, including family members, they say, well, Trump said there were good people on both sides. And I remember my dad told me that. And when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, no, I agree with that. I didn't know what he was referring to. And then I found out that he was referring to that thing in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And what the mainstream media had convinced people of is that he said there were good people on both sides of that debate, which meant the neo-Nazis
They were all
versus
good
the other
too.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they left out the part afterwards. We said, minus the white supremacists and neo-Nazis.
Yeah. Exactly.
You have to, if you want to have inclusion, this is inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Inclusion isn't, what race you are and what gender you are. And all. Inclusion means inclusion of the information.
Inclusion of what you actually said.
Yeah.
Versus having it cut and pasted to look like you said something.
That's journalism.
Yeah, that's what journalism is.
You tell the full story, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
There's opinions out there.
Op-eds.
Op-eds.
Those are called
if it's an
op-eds.
It's an op-ed.
But if it's a news story, it needs to be a freaking news story. And it needs to actually give people all the information in order to make a wise decision about something. You can't just leave out things because it's politically expedient for you to do so. But it looks like they are trying to make it look like Musk is doing that.
Okay, so here's another story, and we have Alex right here. Elon Musk will now reinstate neo-Nazis on Twitter. We probably shouldn't be using that keyword, but screw it.
They're calling Jones.
No, the billionaire owner of X wrote in a post that he will that white supremacist Nick Fuentes doesn't sound like a white name, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I mean, I could be wrong on
It
this.
sounds Latino to
What
me.
is the origin of the name Fuentes?
Yes, from Spain, I think.
It's a Spanish name.
Yeah.
That comes from the word fuente, which means fount or spring.
Yeah.
It can be used as a topographic name to describe someone who lives near a spring it's a Spanish name.
That's silly.
Remember on the other show we showed the
they're-
Proud Boys guy?
Mm-hmm.
And the Proud Boys guy was like darker than I am?
Uh-huh. Well, not only that, but doesn't it look like to you that they're making Alex Jones look like a neo-National Socialist?
Yes.
I mean, like that's...
Nick Fuentes,
I'm
Alex
getting from
Jones, Ali Alexander during a Stop the Steal far-right rally in 2020.
Far right.
So very happy. Elon Musk posted, very happy he will be reinstated here, provided he does not violate the law and let him be crushed by the comments and community notes. It's better to have anti-whatever open in the dark. Okay, so I don't know anything about this guy. Like, he could very well be, but with a name like Fuentes, it's kind of hard to imagine that this isn't anything more than mainstream media spin. But let's see. Fuentes is known for his white supremacist, misogynistic, homophobic, and anti-Semitic and Islamophobic views. Anti-Semitic and okay.
Okay.
We just throwing them all in there. The Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville in 2007 and led a group of protesters at the attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. He founded the far-right white nationalist organization America First Political Conference in 2020, which he hosts an annual conference for. I still don't see anything regarding race here, but let's dig in further. Can we get around the applause for Russia, which led the crowd to erupt in applause collectively? Putin. Nick Fuentes, honestly, we don't care about your grandmother that died in the Holocaust. This is who Trump met at Mar-a-Lago and who is being allowed back on the platform. That doesn't sound like people can have their views.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It just sounds like people who have different views.
Fuentes, along rapper Kanye West, was invited to Mar-a-Lago for a dinner by... That's real white supremacy right there.
Uh-huh.
When you're invited to a dinner with Kanye West,
oh, no.
you know
somebody
that you're an anti-Semitic white supremacist.
Obviously.
The decision garnered widespread
What the
criticism
hell?
of Donald Trump, even by members of the Republican Party. Let me just say that there's no room in the Republican Party for anti-Semitism or white supremacy. I don't know. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this.
Yeah, that doesn't...
I don't believe anything the mainstream media tells me.
Yeah, nowadays,
I don't.
Yeah.
But I don't really see any white supremacists.
I learned to read by reading the newspaper, and I knew even back then.
Now,
that
hear this.
a lot of
Hear
it
this.
was
Tell me
crap.
this. White dudes for Harris. That's in the name.
Yeah, I know.
Is it not?
Uh-huh.
That doesn't have anything to do with racism? I don't know. I mean, according to this, it's perfectly fine.
Yep, that's perfectly fine. the way this works is so selective, and it's so opposite. It's opposite land.
All right.
So much opposite land. And I'm sorry. I'm not. I think most people are like me, where they're just like, I'm not having it. Like,
I'm done with it. And this is the point of this broadcast here, which is supposed to be short, but where are we at? We're at 45 minutes already. There's a new era coming in, and people are sick and tired of this. It's one thing to identify as whatever you want to be. It's another thing to force other people to go along with that.
right.
And like I said before, I've had no problem with LGBT. I've had no problem with drag. I've had no problem with trans or anything like that. It's when it's forced in people's faces and it's shoved down people's throats that I have a problem with.
Right.
I've
me
never
too.
met a single person in drag that I have not addressed as she. Or not drag, but trans, I should say.
Yeah.
I've only met a few, but you see them at clubs and whatnot. I'm not going to be rude to somebody's face like that.
Right. Me either.
But when it becomes a political global issue, then it has to be addressed.
Yeah, I agree. There's a history of censorship that people need to kind of wake up to, where this didn't happen overnight, and this hasn't just been happening over the last 4 years. This has been escalating since around 2013, 2014, and around 2015, 2016 is when you saw the building blocks of what proved to be the foundation later on for a lot of this stuff. And then when AI started to become more of a thing in 2018, that's when they applied the AI to a lot of these filter systems, these AI filters.
Do you remember the bathroom debates? This was like 2017. I got a 30-day ban on Facebook for saying Americans are so full of shit. The only thing they have to worry about is where they're going to go to the bathroom.
Right.
It was not only a joke, but it was also like true to the topic being discussed within the thread.
Right.
They call that racist. Automatic.
Or
like,
hateful.
I posted
Was
it,
it
and it didn't even show up on Facebook.
They said it was racist or
Yeah,
bigoted or
well, they said it was
hateful.
hateful content.
Yeah, hateful content.
But it was the AI that did it.
right.
And it was just boom, like that. 30 days.
Automatic. Yeah.
Yeah. So stuff like that has been happening to a lot of people. I called somebody a bitch one time and boom, 30-day ban.
Right. Right. Because of abusive language.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was done by the AI.
Yeah.
So they're getting rid of all that to try to save their company, which is drowning, but they're
Right.
getting rid of it nonetheless.
Right.
And it's going back to the way it was before, where you actually have to report something and then somebody actually looks at it.
Facebook actually suspended 30,000 accounts in France in 2017. Do you remember that?
No.
It was a mere 10 days before its national election. It suspended 30,000 accounts. So it's interfered with elections for many, many years before 2020.
Well, and that's what happens. Right before an election, all the social media companies start doing their censorship hardcore to push one political candidate.
Right, exactly.
And this time it didn't work. That's the thing. What Trump won with everything, mainstream media, with social media, with everything against him.
Right.
And the people were just like, enough is enough.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Mark Zuckerberg is right to look at the way the wind is blowing and see, I mean, it wasn't
Don't
a
go against
cultural
that wind.
revolution.
Yeah.
It was what people have always been feeling, except you guys have been censoring it so much so that you're not hearing it. You're hearing a very, very small minority of people who are jumping up and just yelling and screaming and wah, 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 we don't like this, we don't like this. And you're catering to them
Right.
while disenfranchising everybody else.
Right. You just explained why people don't like Disney anymore. It's the same
That's a great
thing.
that's a
Same
great
exact
analogy. Yeah.
reason. They listened to a very small minority, and the small minority told them, we want woke. And so they just went hardcore balls to the wall or chopped off entirely.
When was the last time we went to Disney World?
Oh, like 2020? No, 2019 or 2018 wasn't it? 2017, maybe?
It was 2015.
2015, that's right.
2015.
Yeah.
It was when William Whitecrow died.
We used to go every couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, throughout the first half of our relationship, we went every couple of years, and then 2015 was the last time we went, and it wasn't woke yet.
I used to love Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Oh, we really did.
Yeah.
We both
You
did.
could run around and be like a kid again.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started bringing in the woke stuff. And at first it was just hints of it. And then it became overwhelming. And then it's like, if you walk in, like, you have to be woke.
Right.
To just be able to even tolerate being there.
Yeah, tolerate. That's a better term. Tolerating it.
And it became a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this whole Snow White debacle that's been going on now. What happened? They put this Rachel Zegler in there. She started bashing the original Snow White and go, oh my God, it was weird how, there was a prince and she fell in love and everything. Like, we're not going to have that. Now she's a strong, independent woman and all this. And it's like, hey, get out of your bubble because you're about to tank the entire company, which is a good thing. It did get tanked. And what happened is the Blaze, the Daily Caller. I think it was the Daily Caller. No, it was Ben Shapiro's thing.
Daily Caller, right?
Daily Caller, yeah. They did their own version of Snow White. South Park started bashing them. Mm-hmm. South Park, it's Disney sent South Park a cease and desist and said, "We're going to sue you if it interferes with our profits over Snow White." They bashed them anyways, and they were showing all the wokeism and all that stuff.
Which
people were bashing Rachel Zegler all over the place. The dwarf community out there was like, "Why the hell are there no dwarves in here?"
Yeah.
Instead, you had like the 7
small people.
No. It was the 7 diverse mouth breathers.
Yeah.
The 7 diverse mouth
there
breathers. And they had to postpone it because they had to reshoot so much of it until 2025. Mm-hmm. And what a perfect disaster here. Like, seriously, like it was a perfect storm. Daily Wire. Thank you very much, Amanda.
Okay, it was Daily Wire.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire. And so I don't keep up with this kind of stuff very much, but I see it every once in a while and I just chuckle. I chuckle so bad. So they said, okay, we're going to wait till 2025 to release this film. Now woke culture is dead. It's dead.
Dead in the ground.
And even social media is like, no more woke stuff. They've spent like, I think they spent like 500 million on it so far. Mm-hmm. And the budget just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. Oh, they're going to be $1 billion into this by the time it's done.
Yeah. And nobody's going to see it.
Right.
Or people are just going to see it and make fun of the clips that they find on YouTube. They're not going to pay to see that movie.
No.
Oh,
the trailer was so bad. Like, it was just one comment. Like, I went to go see the trailer just to read the comments, and it was just one after another. Like, there wasn't a single positive one.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
And so you can't, I can't imagine that they're so stupid and so stubborn that they're going to, actually ride on this being a beneficial, productive, film for them to make. It doesn't even make sense. They need to, reality checks need to be had on every level, it sounds, over at Disney.
Well, this is the way the games were played. So DeSantis in Florida passed a bill that said you can't talk about sex with children.
Yeah.
In schools. You can't do that. It was very simple. After the bill got passed, Disney decided to call it the Don't Say Gay bill, and was just completely just putting all this stuff out. DeSantis is saying, don't say gay, don't say gay, don't say. It had nothing to do with don't say gay. It had,
right.
You can't teach children about sex in elementary and middle school.
That should be up to their parents anyway.
They're too young. That's all it was. Simple.
Yeah.
So then DeSantis was like, okay, cool. You want to do that? You have been enjoying all these tax benefits. You basically had your own government there in Florida, your own little piece there that you've been able to govern yourselves. That's no longer going to happen anymore.
Yep.
And
as
boom,
soon as he did that,
got that taken away.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. It's like tying the rope around your own neck. For what? For what? Who are they? I mean, the only thing I can think of is they're getting all this money from China.
Right.
And
that's
China
the only thing I can figure
to
is that
weaken the United States
China
by weakening all the people here.
Yeah, feminizing our boys.
And it's all come to an end.
Yeah. It's all come to
and now
a very
you see all these companies
end.
Scurrying, trying to save their asses.
Very abruptly, I might add. Because as of a month ago, they were still putting out these woke ads and doing all this stupid shit. Now, suddenly they're doing a 180 and saying, oh, no, we were never woke. We're we're with you, Trump, yay, but it's not going to work because people have a memory that, especially for things that are hilariously awful, like the Bud Light commercial.
Oh, that. I used to
people
like
are
that
not going to forget about these
Shane
things.
Giles.
Shane Giles,
Yeah. He was a great comedian. He did a great Trump impersonation.
Yeah, he always did a great.
There's
Trump
one clip
impersonation.
in particular. Hold on here. I think I'll play it here.
Oh, it was great.
Shane Giles Trump.
Oh, this is
Okay. All right.
Joe,
the
you
best.
can do nothing
All right. This is great. This guy is hilarious, but I'll get into why. I mean, I don't blame him, but we'll get into it here in just a second. Check it out.
to me. I would hurt you severely, and everyone here knows it. I would beat Joe's ass so badly. Frankly, Trader Joe, that's what we call this guy. He's sold out this country.
3 times you've got married.
Honestly, that's not that bad.
Your chin and your neck are one.
Yep. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of women.
Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. As you can see, I'm typing without looking at the screen, so again, I'm all messed up. It's the tits one.
Okay.
The tits. This is great. Y'all are gonna laugh your asses off if you haven't seen this. You probably have seen it though, but
Cannon, you're 21 years old. What do you do for fun?
Just whatever. Play a lot of basketball. I'm no good, but I play a lot of it.
Where do you live 13 hours away to where you're the basketball player in the city?
I'm from Noonan, Georgia, but I live in Dahlonega currently. I go to school at the University of North Georgia.
Are there black people around there?
Not a lot at the school, but there are some.
President Trump, I noticed you grabbed your
Say
microphone there.
it. Say it. Whatever you're thinking, say it.
What a great institution.
Cannon, you're 21
oh my
years
god, man! I wish. All right. Oh, this one's hilarious though.
This is the
Hey,
future.
Trump, I got a question. You on your debate the other day, you said illegal immigrants are taking black jobs. What the fuck are black jobs?
The illegal immigrants are being extremely loud on buses. They are all types of stuff that we said this used to be blacks. Remember when this was blacks and we liked it when they were black? 'Cause they could dance and they were fun.
David, the election is right around the corner. Who are you hoping gets nominated?
Hey, you should vote for me. I stood for BLM. Black large motherfuckers.
Oh, where's the one about? Here it is. Okay, this has got to be it.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there's the lovely Heidi.
Yes, this is it.
everybody.
Okay, we
What a
found
great
it.
lady. I talked to her backstage and wonderful woman. The tits are real. Excuse me. A lot of people are saying her tits are fake. They're not fake. I touched them. Great tits, wonderful tits, American tits. And that's the thing that we've lost under this administration. Where are the American tits anymore? 4 years ago, there were American tits. Now there's no American tits. Mexican tits. Mexican tits are streaming up the border and no one's stopping it. Fentanyl tits. Fentanyl.
Okay.
One shock and you're dead. Can you believe this? This would never.
We're fine. Hey, I smelled her tits too. They're great.
Oh, there's the lovely.
That was great. So, anyways, to this guy, I'll never get over that. I laughed my ass off the first time I laughed my ass off.
Oh, that was.
American tits. Where are the American tits?
Where are the American tits anymore?
Get
Fentanyl
Mexican tits streaming across the board. Fentanyl tits.
One stuck and you're dead. This would never happen under my administration.
Okay. So, okay, so he started doing Bud Light commercials. And I can't help but think of Trump when he did SNL. Mm-hmm. Who the hell is calling me from Mexico City?
Oh,
I think it might be the cartels. Look, I kid you not.
shut up about that.
It's Mexican
shut up
City.
about the
They're like,
fentanyl.
hey, stop talking about Mexican tits coming across the border. What the hell?
That's so weird.
Okay, anyways. Like,
That's
all
bizarre.
right, we know what you're saying. Stop it.
That must mean they're listening.
So Shane Giles, yeah, so he's doing the Bud Light commercial, and I can't help but think, Trump did SNL, and you had Larry, somebody yelling racist, Trump's a racist, and he's like, who said that? And he's like, well, they told me they pay me $5,000 every time
I say it.
And Trump was like, well, as a businessman, I can respect that. So I respect that.
Idiocracy.
Shane Giles, he's the new spokesperson for Bud Light. Okay, great. more power to you, dude. If you're getting paid, that's fine. But I can't watch him anymore.
Yeah, I know.
It kind of took that away.
It took away the positive aura of him and made him a sellout.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Because Bud Light and all the rest of them that went woke, we need to never forget that they went woke. I mean, forget 1-6. Never forget that they went woke hardcore to the point of telling us that we're bigots if we're not all for what they were selling. And it was like, I'm sorry, but even Target, I can't shop at Target anymore. Ever since the bathing suits that you're able to tuck, for kids, I can't shop at Target anymore.
They put Dylan Mulvaney's face on the bottle.
I mean, that was terrible. Like, what the hell were they thinking?
It's old news for people.
Who is that going to appeal
it's so
to?
Cringe.
It's so cringy.
Like, can you imagine being at a bar or at a party or something like that, and you've got Dylan
It's
Mulvaney on the bottle?
100% cringe. And it's so not what Americans want or are. You know, or like nobody is
There's no
attracted
coming
to
back from
that. And there's no coming back from it. Yeah. I'm sorry, you know,
I always drank
Shane Giles
Modelo.
is hilarious, but
I haven't drank
cannot
Budweiser since I was like 18, no,
redeem that.
14 years old.
Yeah. It will never leave your mind again thinking about Bud or Target. Oh, those two companies especially, and Disney, they've completely lost their appeal to 99% of Americans out there just because they went so hardcore over the edge with the woke stuff.
You know what Bud Light stands for, right?
Budweiser Light.
Because you deserve wieners that every individual should enjoy regularly.
Wow.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
No, not really. It used to stand for because you enjoy what every individual should enjoy regularly.
Yeah.
But now it's because you deserve whatever, all the wieners that.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Helicoptering in God's face. Which is what we talked about the other day. Like, he just comes out of nowhere with that. Like, I think that's where the line is drawn, you know? And what's interesting is there was a forum group. I forget which forum it was, but I check forums out that we used to go to and stuff like that. And one of them said, naked men riding bikes in front of children. in regards to a parade that had been taking place, and apparently that was a thing. Yeah, stuff like that is where we draw the line. And having books in kids' schools that are like really like X-rated books, like reading this is like, let's just put it this way: if there were pictures, they would be illegal, you know, if it had pictures, because it's that in depth and with sexual content and stuff like that, and you know, just the language and everything. It's offensive to most parents, and it's offensive to most people. The only people it's not offensive to seems to be, you know, people that are into that kind of stuff with kids. They're the only ones that are pro this, and woke has become almost synonymous with that at this point, because they targeted the kids so badly and so ferociously. Like, targeted advertising to kids, that's woke, and, you know, it's designed to make them feel like that's normal. That's grooming on a mass scale.
There's no other way to look at it.
Right.
It is. So, I don't know. As I said before, I've often speculated if that was the plan. Mm-hmm. Could that be the plan, to bring in a one-party system? Make one party so wacky that very, very few people can go along with it. And then you've got the majority of people saying nope and all go to one side. And
I
then
think
you're
that's
like,
what
okay,
happened to the
cool. We're
Democratic
dissolving
Party.
the Democratic Party and now we're going, with the other way. It could be it. But I know for a fact that going way back to 2017 during the first Adpocalypse, Alex Jones was censored. And they removed him from every social media. That was terrible. And then they were putting ads over videos, and the New York Times, I think it was the first one to put a screenshot out there and put a story out there saying that advertisers were showing up on neo-Nazi content. Now, I'm not for censorship, but at the same time, it's hard to have racist content out there. It infuriates me. It's disgusting. It's a throwback to way back, But the thing is, we've seen that from the left all the time. And it's so woke and brave and all that. So it's just, we're going from one extreme to another, just labeling it completely different. But anyways, so that was put out there. And I think everybody can agree and say, yeah, I wouldn't want my brand associated with that either. However, there were channels out there. One guy, he does a channel and he does a character called Francis. And he was like Boogie 273 or something like that. And he even stepped out of character of his character Francis and was like, look, I got a serious video to make here. It looks like this New York Times article, which is circulating around right now, and caused all the advertisers on YouTube to all at once pull all of their advertising. I think that was manipulated. I think it was photoshopped. And then other content creators started coming out who are not in our arena. They're not in the arena of news or looking beyond the veil of things or anything like that. And they were all calling this out as bullshit. So what do you make of that? And some of their channels were jeopardized as a result of them calling it out.
Right. Well, I think that's when you see somebody like Francis break character just to make a video about censorship, that's an important milestone, I think, in the whole Adpocalypse. That was an important milestone because that meant it wasn't just people like us that they consider extremist or who hold, far right beliefs and stuff like that. It's not just them and conspiracy theorists and people like that. It's also affecting people that are just doing regular comedy and stuff like that. And I can understand advertisers that they don't want flaming racist bigotry or anything like that, representing them. But by the same token, they're counting as racism, things that aren't racist. And while at the same time, if it's woke racism, it's completely ignored.
Elon Musk
Or
called that out with his
promoted.
interview with the BBC.
Right.
The reporter said, well, since you took over, I've seen a lot of hate speech on there. And he goes, okay, give me some examples. He said, well, I can't give you any personal examples. Okay, well, you said that people are saying this. Give me some examples so I can know what to look for. And the guy was like, well, that's what people are saying. Okay, well, who are these people? Well, of course they're going to say that. They have an agenda. Show me some examples that you said personally that your feed was being affected by this. What have you seen? He's like, well, I don't really use that feature very much anymore. And he was backtracking and he's like, okay, let's get on a different subject here.
Of course.
It's talking points. It's talking points, but that's how it all started. It all started with that one talking point that everybody just kind of ignored and said, of course we agree with this. Nobody wants that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then it turned to Alex Jones. And then another wave of Adpocalypse. And this time it was, anything that's fringe. And then here's where the shift
fringe,
really
that's
happened.
a good term.
I want to say it was 2018, 2019. It was pre-COVID. I know that for sure. They decided, and maybe you can Google this real quick. They decided that they're going to start giving more weight to sources that are reputable. That includes MSNBC, Fox News for all intents and purposes, CNN, sources like that. And they were going to show those. If you watch YouTube, I want to say it was 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Okay.
If you watch YouTube on TV, you can't find anything. You can't find anything. Go and type in Trump and you'll get 10 pages of Fox News and CNN and some videos that are from years ago. You won't see any independent analysis. You won't see anybody like us talking about these issues. So I want to say that happened 2018, 2019. And everybody was like, well, I guess that's just the way it's going to go. If you can't find it, it's okay. It's just one point in the grand scheme of things. It's not, but they changed their policies on that.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, then we had 2020.
Oh, they have a Wikipedia page dedicated to censorship of YouTube.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, send that to me, please. Send it to the Truth Frequency.
You got
email.
it. Yeah, because this is important stuff. So they've actually put together almost a timeline of events related
really?
to
Great.
yeah. And I've got a few others from like Conservapedia is a great Wikipedia kind of alternative.
Send it to this one here.
Yep, you got it.
Okay. No, that's good. I didn't. I'm going just off the top, but
Off the top of your head, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is even better.
How is it lining up so far?
Well,
I guess go ahead and send it to me.
Yeah.
We'll go over it.
We'll go over it because
it's important to understand how this happened, so we don't repeat the same mistakes.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, it goes right along with what you were saying. As of September 2012, countries withstanding national bans on YouTube include China, Iran, and Turkmenistan. Due to disputes between GEMA and YouTube over royalties, many videos featuring copyrighted songs were inaccessible in Germany. After an agreement was made between the companies in November 2016, these videos became accessible. YouTube's terms of service prohibit the posting of videos which violate copyrights or depict pornography, promoting racism, illegal acts, gratuitous violence, or hate speech. User-posted videos that violate such terms may be removed and replaced with a message stating this video is no longer available because its content violated YouTube's terms of service. Additionally, Google reserves the right to terminate any account for any reason, even without notice. YouTube offers an opt-in feature known as restricted mode, which filters videos that might contain mature content. And then they have countries where access to YouTube is currently blocked. China, Eritrea, Iran, Mauritania, North Korea, and Turkmenistan. Countries where access to YouTube was formerly blocked include Afghanistan, Armenia, Bangladesh, Brazil, Finland, Germany, Indonesia, Libya, Malaysia, Morocco, Pakistan,
No, it's okay.
and
You don't have to
Russia.
go through the details. It's
Well,
fine.
I'm trying to find the details about them
Here's
censoring
here's the thing.
on the site.
Remember how we used to laugh and giggle about China firewalling their entire country? We're supposed to be in the land of the free here.
Exactly. It says criticism of Google and YouTube. YouTube, a video sharing website and subsidiary of Google, in its terms of service. You only have instances until 2016. You have instances where YouTube blocks certain accounts and stuff like that, but they seem to be isolated. Well, maybe more like 2012, 2013. After about 2012, 2013, we saw the Adpocalypse, which we've already talked about. And then also the blocking of certain users entirely. We saw that happen like they were isolated incidents until like 2016. And then 2016 especially is when you really started to see shadow banning on a scale that was just enormous and has hurt a lot of people's channels, including ours. The shadow banning has gotten ridiculous. I'm trying to see if there's any proof that they have stopped shadow banning people, or they're going to have to stop.
No,
because
there's not.
It looks like all these companies, because the FCC pick that Trump put out was Brendan Carr, and Brendan Carr has vowed to wage war against censorship in social media and YouTube and everywhere. Anywhere that there's like a social media type of site. Shadow banning is a practice where a user's content is blocked or restricted without the user's knowledge. The term became popular around 2018 when conservative account owners claimed they were being targeted. Shadow banning can occur on social media platforms, blogs, and media websites. It can have a number of effects, including reduced reach, polarization. It can be used to amplify the variance in opinions, which can increase polarization. Manipulation. It can be used to manipulate opinions over time, even with limited shadow banning. Companies often prefer the term recommendation guidelines instead of shadow banning. Recommendation guidelines is what they're using. However, users have reported shadow banning on platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Yeah, it's been everywhere. And it's been because of this woke wave that is fake. It's 99% fake because only 1% of people are really interested in that kind of content and want there to be the shadow banning of these other things. It was 100% manipulation.
Right. You see what I have on the screen? Your page has been unpublished. This is because Chris Chio goes against our community standards. It was all fun and games back then, but you know, it had an impact.
It had an impact.
It had a long-lasting impact.
Yeah, on that page, this page, you know, everywhere for us started to be less reach, less engagement. We've noticed now that people are just straight up telling us, I'm not being notified when your videos come on. And
there were a lot of channels I used to watch. I can't find them anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, me too. And so I'm glad I keep meticulous bookmarks of everything. So
then of course 2020 came around. And at that point they said, oh, we're going to start censoring misinformation around COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And doctors were getting banned.
Doctors were getting censored.
Robert Malone, one of the guys that invented the RNA technology, was getting
mRNA
censored.
Technology, yeah.
And who was the other one? Who was the guy that worked for Bill and Melinda Gates? Bouchard, I think.
Bouchard. Yeah, Bouchard.
Bouchard was censored.
Oh,
and he had everything to lose and nothing to gain by getting out there and telling people about the RNA technology. Banned.
Oh, and then
ridiculed all over the place. And this is a guy who helped develop this kind of stuff. Like that's all he did. And he did it for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So all of a sudden now we have the mainstream media coming in and saying, no, we're the arbiters of truth. It doesn't matter what the doctors say. It doesn't matter what the experts say. We are the experts here. And what has it been before? The media goes to the White House. The White House tells them what's going on, and the media comes and reports it. The media has no idea what the hell is going on. That's something that we talked about way back in 2008, 2009, how these talking heads have no idea what they're talking about. They stepped in and they said, no, we are the ones who know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. We know better than the doctors.
I'm probably preaching to the choir.
No
Everybody probably knows
degree
all this.
whatsoever.
It's nice to have a record of the way everything happened.
Saying that they're the arbiters of truth. You know, when number one, they lie a lot and they cover things up.
I mean, people were getting banned for telling the truth before it was acceptable to tell the truth. The Wuhan situation. It came out of Wuhan.
A fringe conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it came out of it came out of the laboratory there. Nobody denies that now. But people were getting banned for saying it. Before it was officially allowed to say. How is this not like China?
It's exactly like China. And we mock Chinese citizens for putting up with their government's firewall, the Great Firewall of China, but we don't want to look at the fact that we ourselves have been censored and banned and, you know, basically shocked You know how they'll use a shock baton with animals? We've been shocked into submission regarding internet censorship, where we use the word vacations.
Yeah.
You know, it's bad. It's just as bad here. We just don't see it as blatantly.
Well, we do see it. The thing is,
We do see it, but
it's almost like we've been conditioned to ignore it. Mm-hmm. Like, well, that's just the way it is.
just like spying on American citizens used to be a big deal until Edward Snowden made it not a big deal and something that happens all the time. You just need to learn to live with it.
I've always wondered if Edward Snowden was an actual whistleblower or if his role was to put that narrative out there. Because before, the question was, does the NSA exist? After Edward Snowden, it became a matter of, is it okay to spy on people?
Right. And people are pointing out Dr. Bashar actually died.
I know.
He died mysteriously.
I know,
might
right
add.
after that.
It was really weird. Like right after he said, you know, these things are loaded up with basically time bombs to be activated later. He died mysteriously.
So then that brings us to 2021. And what happened in 2021? January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, that's when it became no holds barred
Yeah.
on the censorship.
With the censorship.
Like,
because
you cannot even question. You can't
Mhm.
even ask questions anymore
right.
without
That's
being taken
dangerous.
down over and over and over
Mhm.
and over again. And so all this information from January 6th, all this information for what was happening prior is gone, scrubbed, just like that. And most people out there, 99 out of 100 people that you talk to out there, are not aware of what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
We have video of John Sullivan himself filming Ashley Babbitt getting shot.
Mm-hmm.
He was arrested afterwards, and he was charged because he was at Antifa rallies.
Mm-hmm.
He was at BLM protest. He was arrested there before.
Yeah. Why would
He was there
Antifa be
pretending to be a Trump
right?
supporter.
He was there pretending to be a Trump supporter.
He was the one that was encouraging Ashley Babbitt to go through the window.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one. There's a video out there called Jaden X, and that was his moniker, Jaden X,
Mm-hmm.
and that's him. Gone.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
Yep.
And 99 out of 100 people don't know that.
Don't realize that everything that happened that was negative on that day it happened because of people that were pretending to be Trump supporters.
Mm-hmm.
All the real Trump supporters got locked up. Some of them have been getting leave, basically being able to leave prison to attend the inauguration of Trump. Others have been denied. But all in all, everyone's expecting there to be pardons for those people.
Right. But think about how this all happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everybody out there can understand this, but imagine being the one person in the entire crowd, a crowd of 100 people. You're the one person in that crowd of 100 people that actually knows what the hell is going on. And you have the entire crowd against you saying, no, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. You're like, look, I got all this information that you guys haven't been privy to because of all the censorship out there. And that just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
The question that I would pose, though, is, was it all an illusion? And the reason I ask the question, was it all an illusion, is because look what happened in 2024. Everybody jumped up and said, no, we're not doing this anymore. And everything switched over. And now you've got Zuckerberg and all these other people saying, no, we're not going to censor. We're not going to censor. We're not going to censor. Enough of this.
Mm-hmm.
Were there really that many people out there that were so stupid to bring in this bullshit that we experienced over the last 4 years? Or was it that they were just gaming the system to suppress every single voice out there that was saying, doing two things, either suppressing the voice and banning people to the point to where other people were then saying, oh, I better not say that because I don't want my channel banned. I don't want my Facebook page pulled. I don't want any of that. So then they created the illusion. Or, and I hate to think about this possibility, was it a matter of turning the water up on the frog so hot that it's just about to jump out? And right when the frog is about to jump out, you turn the water back down. to say, no, it's okay. This water really isn't boiling. It's not boiling like you think it is.
Right.
And then the frog just stays back in the water.
Mm-hmm.
That's a chilling thought.
Right. And I think it very well could be, because if you take the torture level up to a 10 and then reduce it to 6, but you want to go back up to 8, you know.
Right. Well, you reduce it to 6 and then you reduce it back down to 3.
Exactly.
And you really want to bring it up to like 5.
Right.
So you're like, okay, now it's 3. Let's just turn it up a
The
little
5
bit
is tolerable now.
A little, right.
You know, and so are we going to be okay when they start putting in censorship of the other spectrum, like censorship of gays or censorship of people that, you know, just want to talk about the lefty stuff? You know, does that make sense? If they start turning up the censorship in either direction, are we going to just be okay with it because it's not us?
People were okay with it because it was Alex Jones and not them.
Yeah.
So
I saw that.
Let's not make that same mistake again.
Yeah. We're all in this together, and we all have to.
Adrian, man. I was actually thinking this before you said it. Trust your instincts, Chris. That's obviously what's happening. This is an old and patient plan. Check out what Ike has been saying, and you've got it. I was afraid of that because I was actually thinking this. I was going to say this a minute ago. If we look at what happened yesterday and the way that they certified the votes with no problem, and how we were all left with a feeling of, I don't really feel like celebrating, even though we should be celebrating.
It
By
was
all
very
standards, we
tempered.
should.
Yeah.
The intuition was saying something is not right here.
Yeah. There's another shoe about to drop.
Right.
Or, you know, something.
And really, when you
isn't
think
right.
about it, when you think about it from the really deep core, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it doesn't. It feels culty and.
No, it feels like they're turning down the fire.
Well, yeah, I know.
Just so they can turn it back up slowly again.
But by the same token, doesn't it feel like they're putting too much emphasis on the people and not enough on what they're actually going to do to make this country great again? Like, what are the steps that they're going to take to make this country great again? Because we need to look at that objectively and not subjectively and think, oh, okay, everything they're doing is for our best interests. Because that's the way it happened in other countries that, you know, went to the dark side.
Yes, I agree with that. I would also add to that, though, and say everybody is looking out for themselves. Okay, who was that guy from A Beautiful Mind? We talked to him.
Russell Crowe.
We tried to have him on the show. No, the actual character. We tried to have him on the show, but he said, "Oh no, I don't really feel like doing any interviews." I forget what the doctor's name was that he played on that. Somebody will tell us in the chat, though.
Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah,
he said the best solution is not John Nash. Thank you.
Yeah, John Nash.
Not doing what's best for yourself, but doing what's best for yourself and for the group at the same time. That's the best possible outcome that you can have. So if you look at it like that, you've got to think to yourself, at least this is the way that I think. I'm not telling anybody what to think, but what I think to myself is Elon's doing what's best for Elon. Trump is doing what's best for Trump. But are they also doing what's best for the whole too? Because that's the best possible outcome that you can have. And that's the way the entire group works the best. So Elon, back to what you were saying about the Twitter conditions, Elon is training his AIs with everything that's on Twitter. He's also doing predictive stuff with it to see, you know, what would happen in certain situations and things like that. That's how AI works. That's how the predictive stuff works. I think one of our first shows was we were talking about the Promise software, and that's how the Promise software works. It takes everything that it knows and runs simulations based on that and gives you an outcome, a probable outcome, probability. It's a probability machine.
Right.
Elon's doing that, and of course he's going to do that. Trump is doing what's best for Trump. Are they also doing what's best for the whole?
Right. And that's the $1 trillion question.
Yeah, because remember yesterday, I said, baby, this is strange. Dana White is on the board of Facebook now. What's going on? Okay, what I see what's going on is that AI is the future, social media is the future, Meta is the future, all of that. We are going to have an augmented reality here where you put on a pair of glasses and you go to the supermarket and you've got all the different products there and all. You don't even have to go to the supermarket.
Yeah.
You know, they'll bring it to you. But, you know, you're going to have things like that. Glasses where you have Google Maps telling you where to go so you don't have to look at your phone. You know, that future is coming. They understand this. They want to get on top of it. They want to be at the forefront of it. So that's all being consolidated right now, and it's all going into one pile with Trump, Dana White, Elon Musk, all of them. Where are they going to go from here? That's the question. That's the variable.
That's the variable, and that is one that I can't seem to predict with 100% certainty. I would like to think that they're taking it in a direction that's going to be positive for everybody, but it's kind of like this. There's a quote from The Handmaid's Tale. I hate to invoke that name, but because that's what a lot of libtard females are running with. That's coming, but he says better never means better. Making things better never means better for everyone. It always means worse for some.
True, but maybe the sum, and again, I'm just trying to be optimistic, maybe the sum is the deep state.
Right. We're hoping that that's
maybe the
case.
worst for the sum is the deep state.
Is right. It's going to be worse for them.
Because it's time that they go away. But I agree with whoever said it. I think it was Digital Death. It's a consolidation of power.
Mm-hmm. Right. And whether that power is going to be abused or used for the betterment of our country and the world remains to be seen. So, but we're hoping that it does. We're hoping it does. And that it doesn't go in the other direction.
Somebody said, my husband is always ordering stuff on the computer, packages overload.
Uh-huh.
If you're referring to Amazon, I wholeheartedly feel you there. It's like sometimes you just can't stop them. They just appear out of nowhere.
Uh-huh.
We haven't had that problem in a couple of years.
Yeah.
But I feel you. 100%.
I was bad about that for a while.
Well, this is what I wanted to say in regard to that. And I hope this helps some people out there, but sometimes compulsive ordering is just another way to deal with negative feelings and emotions. Yeah. And it's an outlet for stuff like that. You get a little dopamine rush when you order something. And it's just like social media. You get a little dopamine rush on social media and all that. And some people turn to that. I mean, it's like a drug in and of itself.
Yeah, it really is.
So looking at the core issues there, because 2021 to 2024, it was rough for us. I mean, it wasn't like horrible, but it was like, oh my God, you look at the world around us. They're so dumb that they injected themselves with this crap, and then they voted this guy in, and regardless of whether all the people voted or not, and there were mail-in ballots and all that, it still happened.
It shattered a lot of illusions for me.
That
our country was a great place, that, you know, and that elections, I mean, even though previous elections had been just, fake because of just because of the sheer fact that all of the politicians were fake. So it didn't really matter, a douche versus a turd. Like South Park said, which I wanted to point out that in a second, but in regards to the politicians being fake, Trump, the second try in 2020 was the first time we'd seen an actual person running for office for his second term. And we actually, to a certain extent trusted him because we'd seen him be president for 4 years and he did great. So we knew he was for real at that point. But are they playing the long game?
Michael brought up a good point. He said Trump wondered what it felt like to lose. He actually said that. He said, I'd like to lose one time just to see who my friends are and who my enemies are.
Yep. And he didn't lose because in the end he won. He won big. Like most people support him nowadays. And you never hear the never Trumpers anymore. Like, that doesn't really exist anymore. So well done. If that's the case, well done, losing temporarily so you can big in the long game.
Well, if there's any advice that I can give people out there, and I'm probably speaking to myself here. Sorry, something came up on the screen. I actually figured out how I can control the ads now, and I can turn them off. And I can, every time it comes up, I can hit skip, which is great. So people won't see ads.
Oh.
Okay, so I have at least some control over it now.
Cool.
What was I saying? If there's any advice that I can give people out there, and I've said this before, I'll say it a million times over, is become the observer. Don't become invested in the outcome, because it's not going to turn out well. You can ride the wave for a minute when it's when you're up there, but then it's eventually going to crash. And that was the mistake that I made in 2020, 2021. I was really invested in the outcome. I was already disillusioned by the fact that the entire world locked itself down. I never thought that would happen. You were making your predictions in 2019 about a global pandemic. And I was like, no, there's no way. People will not give up that much of their liberty. And they did. And seeing them do it was really disillusioning. But then watching what happened in 2021 was even more disillusioning, to the point to where I just said, fuck it. What's the point? It became like there was no point anymore. And y'all all have been on the journey with me. You've seen it. You've seen the DJ sets. You've seen the rave parties. You've seen all that. Because it's like, what the hell is the point? Might as well just enjoy your life, and that's it.
Right.
When you're not invested in the outcome, you don't have that crash. And that way you can just sit back. You can be the observer. You can work on making your own sphere the best possible sphere that you can. And if we each do that individually, the whole then becomes elevated and illuminated.
Right. It's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not going to happen with, on a mass scale, everyone all together at the same time. It happens on an individual level. And you can only control the reality that's yours.
Exactly.
But be in control of that reality. Take back control.
Take back control. I like that. Is there anything else that you wanted to get into? We can take a break. And we can come back and get into some more stuff, or we can wrap it up. It's up to you.
It's up to you too. I only had one more thing I wanted to talk about real quick, and that's, I love the show South Park, and I miss the show.
Can we
South
hold that
Park.
till the break, because I got to get a little more coffee if we're going to keep going. All right, we will be right back.
Okay.
Against the weight of the dark, carrying battles that tear me apart. Lit the flame, let the smoke fill my lungs. A doorway open, the song unsung. Colors swirled and the veil pulled back. Truth revealed in the cosmic crack. This world's a code, just a grand charade. A digital prison where my soul's betrayed. I saw the truth behind the veil. Felt the glitch in this hollow tale. But I'm trapped in this flesh and bone, longing for the place I've always known. I'm holding on by a thread tonight, fighting the urge to give up a fight. The simulation whispers you're just a pawn, but I'm still here though I don't belong. Back to my avatar, this fragile cage. A scripted life, a scripted rage. Feelings flood, they don't feel real, like echoes of a world I can't conceal. The smoke fades and the vision's gone, but the truth remains. I don't belong, a player lost in the twisted game, chasing shadows haunted by my name. I saw the truth behind the veil, felt the glitch in this hollow tale. But I'm trapped in this flesh and bone, longing for the place I've always known. I'm holding on by a thread tonight, fighting the urge to give up the fight. The simulation whispers you're just a pawn, but I'm still here game? Then why the pain? Why the echoes that drive me insane? But maybe the glitch is where I'll find the key to freeing this troubled mind. I'm holding on by a thread tonight, fighting the urge to give up the fight. The simulation whispers you're just a pawn, but I'm still here in this troubled mind.
Perfect timing by Mrs. Geo. You are so sweet. She always gets coffee during the breaks for me. Thank you, baby.
Of course.
Okay, so you wanted to talk about the South Park thing.
Yes. I don't know if you've noticed, but South Park, though it was really great when it started, I mean, because it was immature, but it was really immature when it started, and it's matured over the years to the point where it became politically active. Like a lot of the themes were based around politics, and the whole thing that with South Park is that they've really missed the mark over the last 4 years or 5 years when it comes to Trump and stuff like that. So it kind of turned a lot of their audience off. I think with all of this, anti-censorship stuff that's coming out, and the woke culture being such a train wreck, and that people like to laugh about, where do you see South Park taking their show in the next few months? They said they're going to release new episodes later on this year. So,
Do you want me to speak as a viewer?
As a viewer,
or as a businessman?
Both.
As a businessman, they made $1 billion selling it to Paramount and all kinds and HBO. Hey, more power to them. They split $500 million each.
Right.
Doesn't matter where their show goes from here.
Right.
I wouldn't care.
Well, they want to make more. They want to make more money.
As a viewer, they lost their edge a long time ago.
Yeah.
One of my favorite narratives, though, I didn't like the integrity narrative.
Yeah.
The integrity. But
yeah.
you know where the whole thing came from is that everybody was selling out to China. So
Right.
that was the whole joke, but it ran on for a little too long. My favorite recent narrative of them was the whole Trump thing with Mr. Garrison. That was great. But then when Trump started running again, they said, we're not going to do any more episodes about Trump or
Right.
about Garrison or anything like that. And I thought that was a huge missed opportunity because I love that stuff. That's the thing. I love things that can poke fun at everything. And even if it's something that I really like, even if it's poking fun at it, if it's doing it and it's funny, I will laugh my ass off.
Yeah. Yeah.
You remember he went down to North Carolina and he was with his gay lover and they're like, well, you're not going to go down to those places again, are you? And it all sounds like it's like gay clubs and stuff like that. And he gets down there and there's like a MAGA store. He's like, all right, let's rally.
It's MAGA rallies.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
But as a viewer, I don't know. They've gotten soft. They used to piss everybody off. Now, the one that got me was the one where they were bashing Disney. And I thought it was great.
That one was
They replaced everybody with diverse
excellent.
women of color.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah,
the Panderverse.
The Panderverse. Yeah, that was a great one. And then it ended just flat.
It ended on a flat note.
Yeah, they were trying to appease both sides of the controversy there. And it's like, no, with that case, with that thing, you should have just taken it all the way.
Yeah. Exactly. And then at the same time, like I would like to see them take on like the woke stuff more. Like the DEI episode with Panderverse was excellent. That was brilliant. But I think they can take it further.
I don't get excited about it anymore. But you
Me
know what?
either.
Funny story is I was watching, we were living in Dallas at the time, and I was watching that episode of South Park in Denver and how it was like the Kentucky Fried Chicken and weed one. And I was like, wait a second. I was like, seriously? Like, you can like buy weed at the store in Denver? Like, I didn't know because we lived in Dallas at the time. And we literally moved to Denver because of that episode.
Well,
and
it
that
was-
completely changed our lives.
Yeah, it was half that episode, and then the other half was we were talking to a psychic at the time, and she was one of our first guests that we had on the show, and she said, you know, with your eyes closed, point on a map, and that's where you should go. But you're going to need four-wheel drive.
She did say that. She said you're gonna need a 4-wheel drive. And we're like, okay, and we
Okay.
did that, and it landed in Colorado. And we're like, let's go to Denver.
Yep, let's go to Denver.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yep.
funny.
Yep,
It's funny how one little thing can change your life like that.
and yeah, and how shows impact us to a pretty great extent when it comes down to it. Like people realize things about their reality that they may not have known, and that can change their entire life, like in our case. So
So I don't know if that was the answer that you were looking for. Did you want me to
No.
elaborate even more? Or?
no, but I think also
The Red Man's Greed was a really good one. Remember where they were trying to take everybody's houses?
yeah, the only time
And they were like, hoo, ha, 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 hoo, ha, ha, ha.
that one was funny.
Yeah. And then you know what was going on in that? SARS.
Yeah.
Remember? They gave him the blankets that were infested with SARS
They
and all
gave him
that.
blankets infested
Yeah.
with SARS.
And then what was the cure? It was no, it was
It was
Sprite and Campbell's soup.
Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, and then he went and cured the owner of the casino's son or something like that. It was
SARS.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. But funny enough, what was it? 8 years later, 10 years later, what do we have? SARS-CoV-2.
And we're lied to about that too. And we get it
That's why when the whole pandemic hit, I was like, what? I was like, no.
through. Yeah.
I was like, we saw SARS, we saw swine flu, we saw H1N1, we saw Ebola. Remember they did the whole Ebola thing?
Yeah. Swine flu and H1N1 are the same thing. But
Oh.
still, yeah, we've seen it all.
I used to call it piggy flu.
We've seen it all.
We got
okay?
we got
and
piggy
it's
flu.
all been to sell you stuff you don't need.
We went to Las Vegas. Go figure. It's so weird how everything just kind of connects. We went and got married in 2012. We went to Mount Shasta to go get married. William White Crow married us. Then we were driving back around. A friend of mine was like, "Hey, come on down to Los Angeles. You're gonna love it." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So we went down to Los Angeles. It was around Christmas time because we got married December 21st, 2012. And then we went down to Disneyland. And you were acting like a little girl. You're like, "Oh my God, there's Mrs. Claus." It was the cutest thing in the world. It was freaking awesome. And then we said, let's
Oh,
go
that's
to Area
great.
51 because we're truthers and that's what we do. And then the Vegas lights hit. Boom, the Vegas lights. And you're like, wait, what? I forgot what I came here to do. Oh, we came here to go to the casinos, didn't we? So then we were at the casino. Can I tell the story?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me. We went to a strip club. Hold on one second. Let me clear my throat.
Yeah. So
Okay. We went to a strip club the night before.
oh my
And,
God, I can't believe you're gonna tell this story. That's so embarrassing.
and so I was like, the whole night, I was a gentleman. And the girls kept coming up to me and they were like, "Can I give you a dance? Can I give you a dance?" And I'm like, "No, I'm cool. I'm cool." You know, I get about 7 Johnny Walkers in. And I was like, "Why don't you do a dance for my wife?" She's like, "Okay." So she was like, "This is nice."
Yeah, I was enjoying myself.
So about 7 Johnny Walkers in, she's like, "Why don't you get a dance?" And I was like, "All right, fuck it, why not?"
Yep.
So the chick pulls me over the corner. She starts ripping my clothes off. She gets naked. She's kissing all over me, like literally everything. I'm drunk. I'm like, okay, whatever. And
And I'm drunk too.
and Cherie's fuming in the background. And I'm like, okay. So the next day I wake up and I feel like I have desert dust in my lungs. Like I can't explain it. And I'm like dead. I'm just like on the bed and I'm like, I can't go anywhere. And you're like, come on, let's go to the casino. I'm like, baby, I can't. I'm sick. And you're like, come on. And I'm like, all right, maybe a little bit of Jack Daniels will get this desert dust out of me. So I drink some Jack Daniels. And it didn't help.
Yeah, it didn't help.
And the whole time, I didn't find out about this later. The whole time you had thought that I was just pretending to be sick.
So you could hook up with the stripper.
So I could hook up with the stripper from the night before. I'm like, baby, that's not how strippers work. They take your money at the time and that's it. There's like no contact with them after that.
I was like, well, she seemed to like you a whole lot.
Yeah, and it's New Year's Eve. And we're like, you know what? We probably want to get out of here. And what was funny is you said, I want to get you out of here because I started like now I'm having a fever. Now like I'm like hot as hell. And like so I'm trying to remember the chain of events. So we're driving and I'm like, baby, take me to the hospital, please. And you're like, I'm taking you. I don't want to take you to a Las Vegas hospital. And funny enough, we moved to Las Vegas later. So we get to Arizona. It's like minus 10 degrees in Arizona. She has the windows down because my fever is so freaking bad that it's heating up the entire car. And she's driving minus 10 degrees with the windows down. Mm-hmm. I'm like, baby, call my mom. I'm sick. And you're like, sweetie, your mom passed away a couple years ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We go to the hospital and you were about 2 days later on your symptoms. And this is what I'm really getting at here. Are you sure you're okay with me telling this?
Yeah.
I mean, I've already said the worst part, but
yeah.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
So we go to the hospital and I'm brown skin. So we get to the hospital.
It's in Kingman, Arizona.
In Kingman, Arizona. Yep. And I'm like, hey, and she's like, hey, he's really sick. He needs to get in somewhere. And they're like, he can lay on the floor.
Yep.
You tell the story. Go ahead from here.
Well, and me, I was a couple days behind him, but we didn't even go to a hospital. I mean, we didn't like.
Well, no, what happened at the hospital?
At the hospital, they gave me.
No. When they took me.
Oh, when they took him? Yeah, they treated him like garbage. And
they were like, you can lay on the floor. I was over there and I'm like, I need some fluids, please. And they're like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
can't do that for you.
We're not going to do that.
A freaking IV bag. And they're like, here, take this Tamiflu.
Yeah.
And what else? They gave me like something else.
Electrolytes. Zofran.
No, they didn't give me electrolytes. They were like, here, drink some water.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Drink this water.
Like, okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
So we go to the hotel. 2 days later, because we can't drive back to Colorado. 2 days later, she's just as bad as I was. And we get an ambulance to take her because I couldn't drive because I was still sick out of my mind too.
Yeah.
They take her, you get fluids, you get pain medication, you get Zofran. I mean, we're talking the works here.
Yeah.
And I was like,
the only difference is that I'm a white female. I mean, that's the only difference.
Yeah.
Is that, and
I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. I was like, okay. I mean, I was glad they're taking care of you.
Yeah, but at the same
to see the contrast.
I was pissed. I was like, where were you guys whenever he was sick? Because he got sicker than I did, to be honest. And it turns out your blood type is more prone to getting viruses, and mine's more prone to getting like bacteria and stuff like that.
But anyways, that was funny. Yeah. I laugh about stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, poor Arizona people.
Oh. I felt horrible about that.
Oh, it's okay. And we finally made it back to Colorado.
Yeah.
And then she cleaned up the vomit for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've taken care of you when you're sick.
That was a fun time.
Yeah.
You've got to look at things as fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
It sucked going through it. We have pictures. I don't even know where they're at, but we've got pictures at the Grand Canyon.
At the Grand
Canyon. Fuck it, we're going to the Grand Canyon. And our eyes are puffing out like this. And just,
we look terrible.
Yeah, water's coming out of them and everything like that. And we're like, hey, we're at the Grand Canyon. I can't see.
From what I can see, it's beautiful. Man.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was fun.
We have the boys with us?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
No.
That was another picture.
Did we have them with us? I don't think we did.
I thought we had Snickers with us.
No, I don't think so. I think he was with my brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Our doggies, Snickers and Skittles.
yeah.
Yeah, they passed away a while ago, but that might have been after they passed.
No, it was before Snickers passed.
I don't remember having Snickers with us. We might have, though.
I think we did because we couldn't leave him in Denver.
Oh.
So, but anyway.
Anyways, I don't know how we got on that subject.
I don't either.
South Park. That's how.
Oh, yeah, South Park.
This is how it all connects. With
Yeah.
South Park. And then we went back through South Park, Colorado, back to Denver.
Yep.
And then what happened after we moved to Denver? We moved to Woodland Park.
Well,
And Woodland Park is right by Manitou Springs.
first we lived in the same place that they had the Columbine shooting.
We lived in Littleton. And we found this little condo. It was perfect. It was just 2 bedrooms. We had a studio, all that. It was nice. And then we find out after we signed the lease that Lockheed Martin is right
around
over the fence.
Right over that fence. And tell them about the wave we felt that day.
Oh yeah, no. We were sitting up on the balcony. And all of a sudden this wave hit.
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we feel like an earthquake or something like
Yep.
that.
And it felt like a wave.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like an earthquake. It felt like a wave quake.
And there's no fault lines there to my understanding. So
No.
it wasn't an earthquake. It was something. They were bombing
Yeah,
underground bases, or it was fracking. Some people were saying it was fracking or
Yeah.
something like that. And when we lived
Could have
down there, somebody had posted that they were going to do some rituals the upcoming weekend, and they were going to create a forest fire. And that weekend we had this huge forest fire that took out like a whole bunch of the forest over there in Colorado Springs. And we just had the smoke just hitting us and hitting us, which was a weird coincidence. So then we moved to Woodland Park. And Woodland Park was right by Manitou Springs. And, we don't really research places before we go. We're just like, okay, cool. Yeah, no, this seems
That
fun.
sounds cool.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
right there. We can see Pikes Peak right there. Yeah, it's a great little house. It's out kind of in the country, but it's in a neighborhood. Great view, It's
Yeah.
a little hard to breathe, but, other than that, it's fun.
Yeah, we got in good shape.
And then we find out that Manitou Springs is like the center hotbed for freaking satanic rituals
activities.
and all kinds of shit like that. And just there's all this kind of stuff going on there. And we're reading one thing after another after another. We were only there for like 3 or 4 months. But yeah, one thing after another after another after another. And
then we find out.
and then South Park.
South Park releases.
No, I think South Park released it before.
released
we made
it.
the connection
Yeah.
later. So this is how it ties back into South Park. They had Woodland's Critter Christmas.
Woodland Critter Christmas. Yeah.
And in that episode, they were waiting for the birth of the Antichrist. And Stan kills the mountain lion and all that.
They're raping us.
Right. And we're like, this is kind of weird. Where did they
Where
pull this out of their ass?
Yeah,
And then we moved to Woodland Park, and we're like, wait, Woodland Critter Christmas, Woodland Park. Oh shit!
Satanism.
And we were getting there, and people were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, if you have cats, keep them away from. Make sure you keep them in the house,
'em
because
in
there's
the
a lot of
house.
shit that goes on during Halloween, especially around here."
We're like, okay, that's kind of weird, and I never really saw people walking around Woodland Park. It's one of those really, really super, like, eerily quiet places that's kind of in the country, and most people are indoors.
Things got really weird.
Yeah, things got really, really weird.
It's like, what's that? Stepford Wives.
Yeah.
It's like the whole vibe is like really cool, and then all of a sudden, after a certain hour, it just all changes.
The witching
and
hour.
Everybody like locks their windows and doors and everything,
And stays in.
It's like almost like vampires coming out at night.
It's not like here in Vegas where people are out and about at all hours, because a lot of things are 24 hours here. It's very much, okay, stuff goes on after hours that no one talks about, but everyone knows it exists. And we're kind of like the Eloy, and they're the Morlocks in a time machine. In the time machine.
That's what it was like. Yes. Yes.
Yep.
It was weird. It was weird. So,
Yep.
and it was just a quaint little mountain town.
Mm-hmm.
It's it.
Yep.
Amanda's
tiny
been there her
little
whole
mountain
life, so
town.
she knows.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's been in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Woodland.
Fun times. Fun times. And we went to the Denver International Airport. We were doing a thing with the History Channel. Remember that?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. And so what I did is I was trying to get into places that nobody else can get into. So I think I was in my carpet cleaning van.
Mm-hmm.
Was I in my van or were we in our SUV?
I think we were in the SUV.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see all these workers going in a line and they're going off the road. Remember?
Uh-huh.
And so I decide, well, I'm just going to go in here and just follow them just like we belong.
Uh-huh, like we belong.
And we start going like deep into the realms of like the Denver International Airport. We didn't see anything that was interesting, but we were deep into places that we shouldn't have been.
Right.
And the whole time we were like, oh crap, what if somebody says something? And it's like, no, just be cool. Just pretend you fit in.
Just pretend you're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a foreman here, just looking out for the rest of the crew here. Yeah, I know how it goes.
Yep. And
I did that in Galveston.
we tend to get away with it.
Way back in the day when it was Hurricane Ike, I want to say. I went into Galveston. I had my carpet cleaning van, and I was looking for flood jobs. And there was nobody on the island to get flood jobs from. But I still went in there, and I just pretended like I was just like there with the whole convoy of workers that were going in there. And I'm like, hey, and I drive by, and all the cops are there. And I'm like, hey guys, how y'all doing? Good. Yeah, all right, let's go. I'm with my brother. My brother's like, damn, dude. And I'm like, dude, let's go check this out. Let's go see what's going on. We go in there. It's like the whole island is just like gone. Like, I mean, there was wreckage all over the place. And there were a few people there and they were barbecuing, like people that like waited out the entire storm. But here's the interesting thing is that there was a Walmart there and Walmart was still open. Mm-hmm. And Walmart had these 18-wheelers with gasoline and they were powering the generators and you could go into Walmart and Walmart still stayed open. Mm-hmm. And then you've got FEMA handing out food and all kinds of stuff like that. It was the most bizarre scene you've ever seen.
Yeah. And
that was before we met, I think. I think it was 2007. Well, before we actually physically met. I think we were still talking at that point in 2007.
Yeah, in 2007 we were talking and then I told you to, try to make it work with your ex-fiance and you did and it still didn't work out, so.
That's true. Yeah. I was seeking out a relationship advice from Cherie at first on the forum.
Uh-huh. And yeah,
I was like, hey, I'm having these problems with my fiance. We're kind of growing apart. I'm getting more into like consciousness and ayahuasca and stuff like that. And, she's still kind of stuck and all that. I don't know what to do. She's like, well, just work it out with her. Everything will be fine. Uh-huh. And then we split up. And you were like, you need to go get your woman. Go and chase your woman. Uh-huh. Go get her. Tell her how much you love her and everything like that. And I was like, okay. And I drove from Dallas to Houston. And I was like, hey, I love you. I proclaim my love to you. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. But it still didn't. Yeah. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't, because I had a crush on you from the moment I heard your music. And so I wanted you bad.
I when I saw you on Prison Planet, I figured you were like the stuck up East Texas girl.
I don't think I
like not from the way we talked, but just the fact that you lived in East Texas and all that stuff and
yeah.
Anyways, we're probably boring people.
I think so. But it all worked out. And that's another thing. So long as people are individually creating better realities for themselves from 2025 onward, it doesn't really matter what happens on the global scale. We're still going to do better because I think if everyone's creating better realities for themselves, no matter what political party they belong to or didn't belong to any party or, voted for or whatever, that means that the world's going to become a better place, no matter what they try. as far as censorship and things like that. But it's going to be a hell of a lot easier if the censorship stops from this point onward. So that's what we're hoping for.
I hope so too, because reminiscing about all this makes me. I mean, if there's any regrets, the biggest regret, I've said this before, is not buying Bitcoin when that guy came on our show and said, dude, you need to get Bitcoin. It's $4 a piece.
I
Then he came
know.
back on the show and he said, dude, you need to get into Bitcoin. It's $10 a piece. That's my biggest regret. My other regret is not jumping on the bandwagon of YouTube before, like back then.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of these big channels, they started way back then. Yeah,
Right.
we should have done that. But we were focused on GCN.
Mm-hmm.
And opening up for Alex Jones and all that stuff.
Yeah, and we shouldn't have been. People need to look out for their self-interest.
Yeah.
In this world, and do what's best for you and the whole. So.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So on that note, anything else?
No, I think we covered everything that I wanted to. Do we? Do you have anything else?
remember when you remember the weird part of YouTube, and you would always see the comments like, somehow I strolled into the weird part of YouTube, and you had all these videos of like chimeras and aliens and all kinds of stuff like that. It was so much fun back then.
Yeah, it was a lot more fun.
Mr. West said the exact same thing my brother told me just yesterday. He said you would have sold your Bitcoin by now. As soon as it hit $1,000 or as soon as it hit $5,000, you would have sold your Bitcoin. So don't sweat it. Yeah.
Yep. Probably. Or, well, we could sell half of them and, keep the other half. Even if we bought like 10 of them, back in the day, that was only $400.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
I know. Trust me. This thought goes through my head every single day. Anytime I swipe my debit card, anytime I'm looking at financial stuff. Dude, if you would have just spent $400,
You'd be set right
have
now.
100 Bitcoin.
But, everything happens for a reason.
It does.
So.
But my birth chart says that I'm not lucky at gambling.
Right.
So, I take that
And
pretty
that
serious.
that actually that goes for any kind of financial gamble, whether it's buying stocks or buying crypto. You tend to not do well in those. But you're also lucky, generally lucky in your life, according to your natal chart.
Yeah. Are all of the shows on TFR gone forever? They're not. We have the archive of everything. The servers were just outrageously expensive because of the kind of system that it had to run.
It was huge.
And if I go back and redo it all now with the technology that there is now, it would probably be a lot more efficient, a lot smoother. But it got to the point to where it was more hassle than it was worth.
Yeah.
And it was something that I love to do. And we did it out of love and all that. And it was good. People supported it. And that supported the hosts and everything like that. But then it took a lot of time away from focusing on us.
Right.
Which was fine. But then dealing with all the different personalities, it became daunting.
Yeah.
Because everybody had a diva complex. And it was like...
That is true.
Yeah. And, some people were really cool. Like Kev Baker, that was the coolest dude in the world.
Yeah,
like Kev was just freaking awesome. If all the hosts were like Kev, then, oh man, that would be great. But I remember I was talking to George Norrie back in 2015, something like that. And I said, what do we do moving forward? Because it seems like radio's dying. And he goes, well, it's got probably about another 10 years in it or something like that. Because not just radio in and of itself, but just that format, the breaks every freaking 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
A 10-minute ad break every 10 minutes, all that. And then the networks of AM and FM stations out there and all that. And I was watching it fading away in that format. And so we tried to conform with TFR. Like we would put just ad breaks just at the top of the hour or at the bottom of the hour, trying to extend that as much as possible. Because there's nothing worse than being interrupted by a freaking break. You get on a roll, then boom, you got a break coming in. And it's 10 years later now.
Right. Now it's 10 years later. So everyone has been forced to evolve to a certain extent. Like instead of just doing radio, we started doing video podcasts, around 2014, wasn't it? 2014, 2015, we started doing
The video stuff.
video
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And so, we evolved even before it became imperative to do so, but we did it because we could see the way the wind was blowing. Now we need to evolve again, and past censorship efforts and things like that. But if those censorship efforts aren't there, it's going to be a lot smoother for everybody.
The biggest challenge with something like TFR was the fact that technology was constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would build it, it would be great, and then something would happen. There would be updates with
An
PHP,
update,
or
yeah.
there'd be updates with Windows, or there'd be updates with some kind of Linux program, or there'd be updates with something, and you constantly had to stay on top of them. You had to just basically be a full-time developer to constantly stay up on the changes. I mean,
Right.
We'll build something,
were
and then a
incompatible.
new PHP thing will come out, and then I've got to go back and find all this code to change the variables. I mean, Windows even did this. Like, I had a bunch of like bat files and stuff like that were running and doing a bunch of automation and stuff like that. And then Windows decided they were going to change some of the commands and change it from like run to execute. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was something simple like that. And so now I had to go back and I had to update everything because the command would no longer work, and then I'd get all these errors saying this command cannot be found. Well, it could be found in the last freaking version. Why can't it be found in this version? Like, you want to put a new way out of doing it, great, but don't depreciate the old one to the point where it doesn't work. You can say the
Right.
old way doesn't work anymore, but don't depreciate it because it just screws everything up. And then the thing is, it's like also like it became like a patchwork because there wasn't the vision of what it would be.
What it
There was
became,
only,
yeah.
hey, okay, this is what we want to do. Okay, let's do this. 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 And then it became like this whole just,
Huge thing.
yeah. It was fun though.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And we do still have the archive. It's just a matter of getting that. And we have another, few websites that we want to work on as well. iLife and, a few others.
True. That's kind of been where our focus is now.
Mm-hmm.
And we have another site. It's a big site. It's a huge site. It needs a lot of work though. But there's a lot of people that go to that site.
Right.
But at the same time, back to the censorship that we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering how they were going to control the information. And what they did is they got everybody on social media. They got everybody on YouTube. They consolidated everybody like that. And then all of a sudden, boom, started pulling the plug on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Are websites even still a thing? Like, I mean, obviously they are a thing, but where do people go? Like, you go to social media to then drive people over to your website. Like,
Right.
that's basically how they've taken it over. So is it even worth investing time and money into websites?
That's true. That's a good point.
You know
I
what
mean,
we need
'cause
though,
you
and
have,
we've needed this for 10 years now. We
you have our Patreon.
we do have the Patreon, patreon.com/BTV Tribe.
Tribe. Yeah.
But you see all the stuff that's like evolving, we don't have to worry about that. Like Patreon takes care of that.
Right.
I don't have to sit there and go, God damn it, this thing is broken and I just fixed it 2 months ago.
Uh-huh.
All right, let me go and update this now. Let me go update that now. Let me go update this now.
Right. Everything's done autopilot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to drink some ayahuasca and figure out
yeah, I
what
think
the next step is.
she'll tell us.
Yeah. So anyways, thanks for hanging out with us. I'm sorry. I hope the last part didn't derail too much. It's nice to just talk, just chilling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. We need to put our old archives back up somewhere.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe the Patreon or
We could do it on Patreon. There's so many of them. Oh my God.
there
many.
are so many of them. It's going to take a while.
Yeah. But maybe we can utilize AI to say, all right, take all these archives, upload it here, put automatic descriptions, titles, all that shit, and boom.
I'm thinking we can use
THC
AI.
Life. THC Life. I mean, we've got it here now. Should we just put out an email about it?
I think so.
Yeah, we could do that.
Maybe we need to drink ayahuasca about that too.
Go to ialife, ayalife.com.
Yeah.
Sign up for the mailing list.
Mm-hmm.
And
We'll send you guys
yeah, let's
a direct
roll that
link.
out right on.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. People have been buying the crap out of iAlife lately.
Yeah, I know.
There's
We're
like
running.
so many orders to fulfill and everything.
Yeah. But
The good thing is we just talked to FedEx,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to be handling our international shipping now, so they
Yeah.
can get people orders internationally in
a
like
lot faster.
5 to 8 days
Yeah.
instead of the USPS taking freaking a week, 2 weeks sometimes in some cases.
Oh, it took even
sending
longer than that.
sending
in
the packages
2020.
back and going, well, sorry, we couldn't deliver this. Why? Because our guy didn't try.
Uh-huh.
Ugh. Anyways,
Yeah, it literally was that.
there was one order like that, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Here, let me send it out to you again really quick.
Yeah.
And they cost us a shit ton of money.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but it's okay because I'd rather do that and have happy customers than not.
Right, exactly.
That's what it's all about, in my
So
opinion.
that's why I'm glad we're going with FedEx. So.
Yes. So I guess a quick plug real quick before we wrap it up. iAlife, ayalife.com. We do have our buy one, get one free going on right now, which is coupon code BTV Tribe. If you click on, see, we just did a whole thing on the last stream. So that's why I don't want to plug iAlife every single time because I don't want people to get tired of hearing it. Put 246810 in the cart and we will give you 50% off your order when you put in BTB Tribe.
Yeah.
You get 2 bottles for, and you know what? Since we've been doing our own plants, I think these bottles have a lot more than 500 milligrams.
I think so too. I think so too.
Because I've had to use a lot less of it lately.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. They're supposed to be 500 milligram bottles, but they're really closer to like 1,000 milligrams of pure 99% CBD. And it's been working miracles for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Including ourselves, just recently with the smart dust and everything that's been blowing around. I've stayed pretty much not immune to it, but it doesn't seem to have affected me as much as you would think. And I think that's directly because I doubled my dose as soon as I figured out that, hey, there's something in the air and it's making people feel bad. So I immediately started taking more, just to keep my immune system guarded, and it seems to have worked.
Oh, with that smart dust? Yeah, you need to check out the latest show about the smart dust because we got deep into that, and yeah, people were getting sick, really sick. And the National Institute of Health put out a thing about high purity CBD about COVID, and people need to boost up their immune system right now.
And it's excellent for detox too, which is important. If there's a smart dust problem making people sick, then detox is the way to go. So it's great for that too.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So on that note, kiss the one you love right now. You never know the last time is going to be. Anything else from Little Twin?
No, I think this is fun.
Yeah, it was fun. We need to do some more esoteric shows.
I would like to. Yeah, because I have a lot of information about like the Book of Revelation. I've been studying that recently, and people want to hear about that. So, maybe we'll do a show tomorrow night talking about the Book of Revelation.
Yeah, tomorrow's January 8th. That's been a date that's been kind of in our consciousness. January 10th as well.
8th and the 10th.
And then, of course, the 20th. And then
and the 19th.
after the 20th, hopefully, we can go back to doing esoteric stuff and things will be great. And we can end all these stupid wars that are going on and all that.
We can go back to actual like living instead of
Consciousness ascension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead
So
of just
love you.
surviving.
Thanks for hanging out with us and see you even further.
Beyond the veil.
Beyond the veil.
Love you guys.